Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today we're not on the Stitches Challenger, although we should be, but we're actually going to be getting Becky's 88 farm truck rolled in the door here and get some work done on that today. I found the bumper and I found a mirror and other stuff and some paint. We're just going to do some stuff. Becky has also come up with a name for that truck, so if you're interested in knowing it, it's a cool name. Stick around. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
Well, there we go. Had to move a bunch of stuff around because I've been working on 3 projects, actually 4 projects all at once. And I'm quite pleased with the way the shop is staying fairly organized in the midst of all of the chaos that's been happening. Life has just been so crazy busy for the last month. But we're making progress. Things are working, and I'm happy. I'll have another shop organization episode coming soon, I'm sure. I think the first thing that I want to do, I think that makes some sense, is to get that front bumper on this truck. I didn't clean it up yet, and that's fine. We'll take it over and give it a good going over in a while. Maybe we'll run some super clean over it temporarily. But I want to get that bumper on there. Then we're going to start working on prepping this fender and this door to get it in some paint. I'm going to go a little different direction with this. I'm going super cheap, super easy, not super clean. Well, hopefully it's clean. But we're actually going to roll the paint on. And I wanted to try that technique for a long time. We're not putting any primer on this. This is an experiment. I know that factory paint is a great primer in and of itself. I'm just curious. Scuff this down. I'm curious to see how it will adhere in the long run. And I'm not putting any hardeners or anything in it. I want to see how it holds up to the weather. I want to see if it peels, all that kind of stuff. So that's what's on the agenda for me. There we go. Our alignment may not be perfect, but good enough. Farm truck, right? So I was mentioning that Becky had come up with a name. She wanted just to call it farm truck. But if you're in the racing community, you know that there's already a very famous truck called farm truck. And we toyed with some other ideas. Black truck, shop truck, nothing that really rang a bell. And she came to me and she said, it needs to be a truck called Wanda, a play off of a fish called Wanda. I liked it. And she said, because that's what I plan to do with it. I'm going to get in it, drive it, and Wanda all over the place. I thought, ooh, I like that. And then she said, when I'm working around the homestead or going over to the farm and I'm going to haul stuff, I can say, help me, Wanda. Help me, Wanda. And I was sold. Of course, I told her she is free to name it whatever she wanted within reason. I will say there was some guidance, but no, that was totally her and no guidance from me. And I think it's perfect. So from this point forward, it's a farm truck. A truck called Wanda. I'm not going to take it over and hose it yet because I want to get some of this paint work done. And I think this bumper's pretty bad as far as its chrome, but I don't really care. It's better than the one that was on it because the one that was on it was all bent up. I think this is off my 92 back there. I'm not 100% sure. It could be an extra one that I had. I don't know. I've got so many parts sometimes I don't remember where they all came from. But anyway, I think I'm ready to move forward now and work on this fender. Then we'll work on the door. So I don't know if I can do the door there, but I can pull, now that I got this done, I can pull the truck ahead just a little bit more, and I think that'll give me some space. So I'm going to get that done. Hopefully I don't run into that because I still don't have the brakes done on this, but then we'll get this prepped up a little bit and get after it. Scotch-brighted it all down. Did go over it with some 220 on a DA just to do a little spots. There's going to be bullseyes all over in it. There's dents in it. I don't care. We just want it to all be one color. We're not doing the hood today. We'll do that as a separate project. I want to get this fender and this door done. That's the goal. Going to do a little masking. I tried to take this trim off. The screws aren't coming out. I'm not messing with it. We're just going to mask that off real quick just to make it a little easier. I'm not going to bother masking around the door handles and stuff. A lot of this I'm just going to trim with a trim brush, but I want to just go along the top edge here. It'll take me, I'm going to go around the antenna. It'll take me 5 minutes to do that, and then we can start moving forward. Oh, I'm going to do the edge of the grill also. So I've got my everything prepped, blown off, wiped down as far as I'm going with it. Like I said, I'm not getting fancy with it. I got my roller out. I'm using a very tight nap sponge roller that I can just roll on like this. I've got a regular paintbrush here that I'll use for some things, I'm sure. And then I've got a little foam brush. I'm using an $18 quart of satin black from Do It Best Hardware. This paint is exactly the same stuff that's in the can from Rust-Oleum. So it's basically Rust-Oleum satin black. So I'm just going to go around on some of these things that need to be touched just to get some paint in those areas. Not trying to make a nice finish here at all. It'll flow out. I'm not worried about it. I didn't really do a good job here. I need a different paintbrush for this. I should have thought of that when I was back there, but we'll get this touched up real quick. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. If I get a little bit on it, so what? Okay, we're going to have to do a little touching in there. But again, this is I'm doing this in a couple hours in an afternoon, and dirt cheap. So that's the whole goal here, is just get it black so that the truck doesn't look like a patchwork quilt. We're definitely going to have to touch up some spots in here. I can see that. I can't cut quite down in there with this little brush, but I've got modeling brushes back there, so we'll be fine. Why didn't I take these emblems off? Because I have to pull the inner fender well out, and I don't want to do that. Again, quick and dirty. When I was doing the $500 paint job for my buddy, which I'm still working on, but the truck is gone, but the box is coming yet. That was not this level of quick and dirty. Obviously, I wanted that truck to look really nice for him. This is a quicker and dirtier. So I knew this was going to be the most tedious part right here, going around all of this stuff. Okay, I'm almost got it done. You know what? I just realized I can just slob on it and just wipe it off, because it's actually black anyway, so what difference does it make? Can't quite get down in there. There we go, and up in there. Okay, take my finger, wipe it off a little bit. Good enough for the girls' floor. Okay. All right, let's get to rolling. Rolling, 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 rolling. Rawhide. Yeah. Never done this before, so this is going to be a brand new experience that I'm sharing with you. It's going to take a couple coats, I'm sure of that. The goal is to just get it all covered to start. Like I said, I'm not using any hardeners or anything in this paint. It's just paint. Get it on heavy enough that it looks good. Not so heavy that it runs, because we don't want the runs. It's flowing out nicely. And with satin, it doesn't care. I don't care if it has a little texture to it, because it's not shiny. It just has a little satin hue. So we're just bopping along here. Trying to keep roller marks out of it as much as possible. Trying to keep runs out of it as much as possible. Putting it on pretty heavy. If I don't get a second coat on it, I want it to have good coverage with the first coat. I have a lot more control with a roller than I do with a brush, or a spray gun in some ways. But I used to paint commercial buildings and houses and stuff professionally years and years ago. So I've gotten pretty good with a roller. So this is that's why part of the reason this didn't scare me a whole lot. I kind of knew what to look for. Plus, it's going to dry satin, so I'm not too worried about. Well, we're not trying to get a good shine, is what I'm trying to say. So any of the imperfections that are in it, like I'm seeing one right there, that's in the paint underneath. But I can go back and just kind of work that stuff out a little bit. And of course, typical with any roller paint job is you end up with spots where the roller wipes off the paint. So you can expect that. But again, it doesn't bother me any because of the context of this truck. As long as it's all one color, that's the main thing we're going for here. It's actually looking pretty good. It's quite surprising how good it's looking to me. My objective on this truck is if there's enough paint, is to do all of the cab and the other side. And quite frankly, there should be. I haven't even used not even a half a pint of paint so far on this first coat. Like I said, I'm not sure I'm going to do a second coat. We'll just see what it looks like once it's dry. This daylight out here is kind of kicking my butt a little bit. I'm struggling with that a little bit, but it is what it is. All right, I didn't really want to do that, but I didn't have much choice. The brush left a bunch of marks in there, and I kind of wanted to get some of that out. So I got a bunch of paint on the handle. But it's like this here, too. I ended up with a bunch of paint on the key thing, and I just took a rag and wiped it off. So it's not rocket science, folks. Overall, I don't think that's too bad. So it's got to, obviously, it's going to dull down a lot because it's going to be satin black. I want to get it out of here. I'm not going to put it in direct sun. I'm going to keep this on the shadowy side for a little while, although it's pretty shady out there. I just don't want it to dry too fast. On the other hand, I don't want a bunch of bugs and stuff in it, but it's not very buggy right now, so it's a good time of year to be doing this. So let's pull this out of here, and then we'll get a look at it and see if there's anything we need to touch up out of this weird light situation. Not bad. It's obviously painted with a roller, but it's real shiny. And remember that any paint job is only as good as the prep work. And there was no prep work on this. I intended to do a nice shiny paint job on this truck, but the purpose for this truck has changed. And we definitely got some runs in there. Not really runs, but just spots where it kind of ran. But I'm guessing, knowing satin black, actually some of that may have been in the paint underneath, I don't know. But anyway, knowing satin black, most of that's going to disappear. Plus, this is about the only part of the door that's really going to show much because there's a big mirror right here and a trim piece that goes across down there. So zero body work, obviously, almost zero prep work. Threw it on there, good enough. At least it doesn't look like a patchwork quilt anymore. So we'll let that dry for a bit. And I don't know, I'm tempted to spin it around and just let it bake in the sun. Like I said, this was just a total experiment, and I'm not expecting anything except it to be black. That's all I care about. So we still got to do the hood, and I want to do the roof. And we got to do this fender because it's only in primer, and I'll probably do this door. So really the whole cab is probably going to be done. And from what I'm seeing, with one single coat, if I get it on good enough, it's pretty much going to cover it. Fender is hazing out really nice, and of course the closer you are to the front, the drier it is, and the further you go this way, the wetter it gets. And the door looks really blotchy and stuff. The fender did too, but now that it's hazing out, even the spots where there was I wouldn't say sags, but thick spots in the paint, those are disappearing. So I'm going to do the right thing now. And I think this is as far as I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to bother with a second coat at this point. I think it's covered good enough. All I cared about was getting it black. So here's my rationale. This truck is going to get beat through the woods, hauling firewood. It's going to be beat. It's going to be used hard and put away wet. And I don't see any point in spending a ton of time doing a bunch of paint work on it when we're going to drive it through the woods and it's going to get all scratched up. And then I can just touch it up, even with a rattle can, here and there as I need to, and just go that way with it. So I think I'm as long as it's all covered, which it is, I'm good with it for now. So I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to play around with a couple of other things here, and I'll be right back. There we go. I went ahead and got the mirror on, and I got the trim piece on there too. The paint is still really tacky, but you know what? Good enough. I may do that door one more time. The fender seems to be drying better than the door. I think the silver is bleeding through a little bit, but again, it's an old beater truck. It's a Ronda, you know what I'm saying? And it's just going to get beat around. So I'm not disappointed with that, considering we got $20 into it by the time we bought a roller. And we only used about probably a half a pint or less to do that. So it's no complaints as far as I'm concerned. So the other side, of course, is still in primer, as we already showed you. But it's all black, so that's a positive note. And I may change my mind and spray this. I don't know. You know, I'm just weighing it. Here's what I'm saying. I'm just having fun. So criticize all you want. Don't care. It doesn't look like a patchwork anymore, and I know Becky will be thrilled with it. And like I said, it's going to get smashed into trees, and branches are going to scrape down the side, and all kind of stuff. Now, I got a tail light I need to put in the back. So let's get that done next. I don't even know if the brake lights work. I don't care right now because it doesn't have brakes. So, but I smashed this one by accident out behind the shop, and I've got a couple more lights upstairs. So I'm going to go grab one of those. We'll get that put in there real quick, and that'll be a good step forward. There we go with that one. I know I got at least one, if not two more, maybe three more. I don't know. This one's broken, but again, beater truck in the woods, it's going to get broken. So, it's feeling good to get this thing close to being back together again. I want to do the top of the roof. Maybe I'll do those at the same time I do that fender, and I might as well go ahead and do the door. So the hood I'm not going to worry about right now, but we'll get that also. And I'm tired. Oh, man. Obviously, I don't have any of the trim on down here yet either. So another day's project when we're another day older. Oh, I need to get my Mopar plate on the front. I wonder if I still have the insets for that. That's important. Well, apparently I don't have any more license plate screws inserts, so I'll have to pick some of those up. We'll get that on another day. But I'm out of energy and I'm out of time for today, so it's a good project done. And it was fun. Yes. All right. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I'm going to lay down, and we'll catch you on the next one. Rock!